Questions?
We're going to start in the back. Questions? Yeah. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
I have a question about your quarterback situation.
What would you like to know?
Who is the starter this weekend? And I don't want a workaround answer. I want a straight answer from you.
The starter this weekend, simply put, is Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton will be the starter this weekend. And if it ain't broke, we're not planning on fixing it. And right now, Mr. Winston is still broken. He is getting better day by day. He's showing up to practice. He's looking good. Does that answer your question? Is that not roundabout enough for you? But I know what you're looking for. You're trying to start something here. I know what you're looking for. I know it.
Next question. Yes, sir.
So,
what do you think is wrong with the Saints defense this year? Or do you think it's just the injuries in general?
well, injuries always play a part. But I don't think nothing is wrong with the New Orleans Saints defense. I just think we let too many pieces go. We didn't sign certain pieces. And we have had some injuries. Paulson Adebo doesn't look the same. And I don't know if it's his injury or if he is injured, hurt. Maybe it's the sophomore slump. I don't know. But this defense has been holding down this team for the last 4 or 5 years. So I think it's okay now to finally have a few lapses and give up a few dash plays like we did last week against Seattle. And kudos to Geno Smith, who's also a underrated quarterback, and he made some great plays. But yes, it's still unexcusable to how we played. And I wouldn't say anything is wrong with us. I just think we are at best a top 10 defense, and hopefully we'll get better as the season progresses. Hopefully that answers your question. You tell me, why do we suck on D?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I'm not the guru. You watch what I watch. Moving on.
2 more questions on your right. Yes, sir. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Do you think Dennis Allen will, or Pete Carmichael, or whoever calls the plays, will implement Taysom Hill more often going forward? Or will Taysom Hill go missing again for another 3 or 4 weeks?
Well, great question. And for the most part, it's Pete Carmichael calling the offensive plays. But you are right. You would think someone being under Sean Payton for so long would have more creativity. However, I don't know if it's Dennis Allen who has his hand in the scheme, or the totality, if you will, of the makeup of this team. Do we want to be a running team that plays off our defense, or do we want to be a team that tries to put up 30 points every game and hope that our defense just holds it together enough for us? I don't know, but they need to implement Taysom Hill more. I would say Taysom Hill needs to at least be part of 20 to 25% of the plays that we run, that they run, that the Saints run, maybe 25% share, maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 carries. Maybe he should throw the ball a couple of times to keep the defenses on their toes. But I'm like, hey, you keep running that 2 tight end set, 3 tight ends, all the big boys up front, whatever you call that package. Keep running that until they stop it. If they don't stop it, then you don't stop running it. And then when they start stopping it, then maybe you swing Alvin Kamara out and get Taysom Hill to pitch him the ball. Come on. We have too many weapons out there not to be putting up 25 a game. I mean, granted, the defense has struggled, but I give them a pass because they have been holding us down, like I mentioned before. And our offense, it's time for us to step it up. And I'm liking Marquez Callaway. But Marquez has been playing against a lot of backup corners, number 2 corners, number 3 corners. How will he play against number 1 corners? How will Callaway do against number 1 corners if Chris Olave is not up to par? I think Chris Olave is playing this week. We'll know more as we get closer. He's looking great. He practiced. But if that is the case, if Chris Olave plays, I think our offense should be able to put up at least 25 points on Cincinnati. Does that answer your question, or would you prefer something deeper? I mean, that's all I have for you today.
I have time for one more question.
Yeah, one more.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Is it fair to say that for the first time in a long time that the Saints may not have the crowd on their side, being that there are a lot of former LSU players and former Saints players on the Cincinnati Bengals team? With that being said, what are your thoughts on people thinking that Cincinnati has some sort of home field advantage?
Well, I don't think Cincinnati has a home field advantage, but I do understand your point. I mean, look at all the former LSU and New Orleans Saints personnel that is on the Cincinnati Bengals roster. Shall we call them the Cincinnati Tigers? I don't know, the Tigers of the North, whatever you want to call them. There are a chock full of former LSU alumni and Saints players on that team. And I do think a lot of friends and family would be there, and just in general, maybe a lot of Cincinnati fans. I think it will have an impact, one like we've probably never seen before. I estimate 10,000 fans that's cheering against the Saints this weekend. And I think it may have a small effect on the outcome of the game, but still, that's no excuse. We need to find a way to not get beat deep over and over and get gashed up. We already saw what Justin Jefferson did to us. And I think Jamar Chase is probably going to be a problem this weekend. But if we can stop Justin, if we can minimize our mistakes and find a way not to give up plays over 40 yards and not have too many of these, I think the Saints can win. No further questions.